How are you lads? How are things? We'll fix this fucking thing for a start now. How are you lads? How are things? We're here at Clifford's Tractor Parts, Ballymakeera. I don't know what number this is. 4, 5, 6 maybe. I don't know at this stage. Big tractor auction. This is what we're dealing with, look. Big tractor auction here, the 18th of April. Starting in the morning around 9 o'clock. Auction here on site. Going to be also auctioned online. There's a couple of videos up of the tractors. But the tractors are really starting to gather now, so I'm going to start slowing down the videos now, and I'm going to start concentrating on a kind of a line of tractors. Yeah, we're going to maybe do kind of a long video today on half the tractors, and a long video Sunday on half the tractors. But after that then, we're going to concentrate on just a few tractors and kind of look at them, look at each tractor a small bit closer as the time gets closer to the 18th. Yeah, that's kind of about it. There's some amount of stuff here. There's a lovely 8.1 Ford. There's a lovely 5000 right there. There's a David Brown 1490. There's a smashing Massey Ferguson 290. That's a beautiful tractor. 265s, Ford 2000. There's 2 Renaults. There's 3 or 4 Nuffields. The only thing that's not here is a Ferguson 20. That's the only thing that's not here. There's a Fordson. There's a Super Dexter. Oh, sorry, Dexter. Sorry, I got pulled on that. Dexter, yeah, Dexter. 7.6 Renault. There's even a digger, a Volvo mini digger. There's 2 or 3 Massey Ferguson 135s. There's a couple of roadlesses, 6.4s, there's majors. There's a 2511 has arrived since yesterday. 135s. Alright, let's turn the camera. Let's get stuck into this. We'll do about half of them. We'll do the other half of them Sunday. Now, there is more tractors to come. There's supposed to be inward and around of 100. Excuse me, I got wet last Thursday. Inward around of 100 tractors. So we're going to keep going with this one. Alright, lads. We've done some of these already. This is an absolutely smashing 390. It is a beautiful tractor. It is an absolutely beautiful tractor. But look, we're gonna slow it down a small bit. We did a video last Wednesday of the whole thing, but we're gonna slow them down a small bit, right? 590, okay? Massey Ferguson 590. I don't know, is it an early one or a late one? Because the cab has been changed in it. Some fella can tell me. I remember Thomas Moynihan in camp he had about 4 of these drawn silage, but they were the earlier type with the one door in the cab. As far as I know, the later ones had 2 doors. Again, look, there's a bit of work to do in it, but these would be a super reliable tractor for any kind of a farmer or anything like that. They would be a super reliable tractor. Massey Ferguson loader brackets, the whole lot on it. That's a nice little tractor. Okay, I call this a 272 there last Friday, or last Wednesday rather, but it's a 472. Of course, 272 is the same thing, only this is 4-wheel drive. Leyland, of course, were Nuffield and later Marshall. That's a nice tractor. Rare enough tractor in the 4-wheel drive. They wouldn't be that almighty plentiful, like. Now look, there is a couple of cracks in the tyres, but like, it's not bad. There's a nice pickup pitch in it. She's spool valves, a whole lot. Of course, Leyland were British Leyland. How they actually started out. Excuse me, lads. Excuse me again. How they actually started out was after World War II. The British government asked Lord Nuffield, which I believe, open the correction, was part of the Morris Motor Company, to design and build a tractor for the British market, and it would suit the British market. So Lord Nuffield, as he was at the time, and apparently there's a village in the UK called Nuffield, Lord Nuffield, he designed the Nuffield tractor. And of course Nuffield ran into trouble financially, and then Leyland trucks and all that, and then of course Leyland ran into trouble. That's another big long story. Quick summary of it. The Leyland factory in Scotland was supposed to be bought by Deutz, and Mr. Deutz came over from Germany to buy the factory. When he landed on, the boys were on strike, and the reason they were on strike, it wasn't it was the workers, it was the cleaners that were on strike, but they were after getting hoovers and they wanted machine operator wages. 290. Massey Ferguson 290. I think this is a handsome tractor. Like, I was looking at it there yesterday as well, or not yesterday, a couple of days ago. There's big oversized tyres in the back of it. Like, she is a nice tractor. Like, this is a tractor you could sit up in and either take to shows, or a tractor you could actually go working with. I was looking at it there, all the lights are rewired in it. There's all new wiring in it. Like, she's a well painted tractor. Okay, there's a couple of bits in it, like, but like, she's like, look at the tyres. Like, oh, there's fine tyres in the back of it, like. That's, and I see, I was looking at this. This is, I don't think this is factory, but see these bolts. I think you could take out the whole window door to put in whatever. Like, that's a nice. Like, she is a nice, tidy tractor. I was sitting in it the other day. There's all LED lights. There's, like, even the way the door is closing. Like, listen to that. Do you know, like, it's just closing nice. Like, there's a nice seat in it. There's a nice dash. And she's actually a very similar dash to the 590. Okay, she could do with a bit of padding here, like, but, like, that's a nice tractor. That's a handsome tractor. But, like, again, a bog standard basic tractor, kind of nothing to go wrong on it. Auto lock, what's that about? Auto lock. Okay, they're a nice tractor. They're fairly reliable, actually very reliable. Nice tractor. Beacon, like I said, she's all rewired. LED lights, the whole lot in it. There's four good tyres in it. Oh, lads, that is a nice tractor. And just she's a nice genuine tractor, like. Okay, there's a lot of money spent on that, I can tell you that, lads. There's a lot of money spent in doing up that tractor. Oh, okay, even the cab alone. The cab alone is probably worth about $4,000. Okay, 1490. David Brown, 1490. Case David Brown. Of course, Case bought out David Brown in 1972. They acquired it from David Brown. Long story short, David Brown had a big loan out of the British government, and in 1972 the British government recalled the loan, and David Brown was left with no other choice but to sell his share of the company, and eventually sold it to Tineco, which was a Texas-based oil drilling company, and eventually Tineco bought up several different tractor parts and tractor companies, including Case and International and David Brown, and eventually Tineco were sold, and the whole lot now is ADCO. And of course, like, I was watching a thing the other night, is it ADCO? Yeah, it is ADCO, isn't it? ADCO, the only tractor company in the world that never invented anything, but that's not true, because the parent company is Fiat. So the Fiat 11090 and the 16090 and the 18090, and yeah. But now I think they're in trouble because they invested money in a battery. But lads, oh, I'd like that, lads. Of course, I am going to bring over my Belarus. It's not here at the moment, but I am going to bring it over. It will be here. A 920 Belarus. It will be here. Yeah, so bid on it. They're a perfect reliable tractor. Ford 5000, original Ford 5000. Like, I wouldn't bother painting this now or nothing. All I would do with that is a rub of an oily rag. Okay, so you could do with a step there or something, and maybe a small tidy up. Like, she's not bad. She's after getting a severe belt of a power wash before she came over here, I'd say. But like, there's a pickup pitch in it. Like, she's not wet. Like, I like that. Like, okay, she has a bit of work done, like that. There's a wear on the pedals and everything, but look, she's not bad at all. Okay, Massey Ferguson 165. There'll be fellas going on 212 engine. There'll be fellas asking about wet brakes and dry brakes and this brakes and that brakes, and this has the round axle. So as far as I know, these are the better brakes. These are wet brakes. Again, or is that a square axle? I don't. It's got the better brakes anyway. This is square axle, has the better brakes. again, these tractors they're an iconic tractor. Like the amount of work they've done. Are they overpriced? Definitely. Probably make the same money as my Belarus. But the Belarus would be way ahead. Not just this, be way ahead of all that. But they're an iconic tractor. Fellas love them. I remember a neighbour of ours had one of them spreading slurry with a Howard dung spreader. He had it for years. And lads, what a tractor it was. I remember sitting up in the mudguard with him. He kind of had the canvas cab, and he was able to roll down the back of the cab. Oh, they were a lovely tractor. Like, there's good tyres in it. There's a couple of cracks, like, but she's another tractor I would not paint if I got it. I'd maybe throw off the cab. The cab is a bit worse for wear. Put on a set of Warden second-hand mudguards in it, and yeah, she's a rub of an oily rag. Same with this one. Again, Warden painted, another Ford 5000. We looked at that with the child seats up in the back of it. Excuse me. I would say she is an import. She's not an Irish tractor. Again, a nice. Again, look, these are a lovely tractor. But like that, again, now an oily rag. Actually, a fella told me one time, if you can get it, there's an oil. It's called krill oil. It's actually made from fish, from the krill fish, whatever krill is. But it's this. If this makes sense to you, it's actually wetter than water. That's what they say. It's wetter than water, and when you put on the krill oil, a couple of layers of it, it'll actually soak into the metal, and it's wetter than water, so it soaks into the metal, and it actually it expels the water out of the metal. And the other thing with krill oil as well, no flies. The flies won't stick to it, but you just paint it on. Apparently it's just like water. I've never seen it, but fellas have told me time and time again about it. Okay, Leyland Synchro 262, lads. There was a handsome Leyland last Sunday, if any of you saw it, in the Morris Collins Vintage Rally. A 2100. Oh lads, what a tractor it was. What an absolute tractor. It might not be the star of the show, but it was definitely up there. Tractors and A series. Anyone know him? Yeah. Again, these Leylands, these are a lovely tractor. Built in Scotland, British Leyland. BMC engine, I would imagine. What does this say? Tractor model. Does that make sense to you? 262. Serial number. Leyland tractor model. I think it's a BMC engine. I'm not too sure. There's good tyres in it. Okay, there's a couple of cracks, like, but it's not bad. I knew a neighbour of ours that had a Leyland. God, it was a lovely tractor. Might have been something like that. 262, and this tractor was spotless. It was absolutely spotless, and he cut the cab off it. He cut the cab off it just at the mudguard level because it wouldn't go into his cubicle house. And I remember thinking, oh my God Almighty, what did you do? And this yoke was a handsome tractor, but you just, yeah. Lads, that's that line up there. Come on, we're on 13 minutes. We have to speed up a small bit, else we're going to end up making 3 videos. Deutz in 8006, a D8006. I presume the D is diesel. Is it 80 horsepower? 06? Don't know. This obviously again is a German or some kind of an import, because there's no way this was an Irish tractor and sold here and in this condition. Oh, she's an import. That for a ball of hitch. Oh my God, lads, that's a handsome tractor. A Deutz 8006. She's actually taxed until the 5th or 6th 26. So yeah, you could just buy it here at the auction the 18th of April, and you could drive it away. The 5th 26 is taxed until. That's a nice tractor. They are a handsome tractor, lads. Deutz air cooled. I know a crowd that had Deutz and had Lamborghinis at silage, but they said they were a brilliant tractor. But they said the problem was they were so loud with the Yeah, but sure, look, that's it. I drove a 1490 wrapping bales for a fella for years, well, for a year, and it was a homemade cab up in it. Oh my god, but sure, it was brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. Massey Ferguson 4270, 1997 Limerick. That's a grand tractor. Look, there's brand new tyres in the front of it. Tyres in the back are about 50%. And that's all this stuff is here for you. It's here for you to view. It's here for you to give a look at. Clifford's here tractor parts in Ballymakeera are open Monday to Saturday. They're open weekdays from 9 to 1 and 2 to 6, and Saturdays 9 to 1. The only thing I will say to you is get here on time. Look at the selection of tractors you have, lads. Get here on time. Don't rock up at like 5 to 1 or 10 to 6 or something like that. Land on early, give yourself an hour unless you want to know exactly what you want to look at, and come in and look at it. And yeah, 6640. These tractors, these are a lovely tractor, lads. I don't know a whole pile about them. I know there's an SL and an SLE gearbox. Looks to be a brand new pickup hitch in the back of that. Again, that's a nice tractor. She's a handsome, tidy tractor. I reckon, in my very meagre opinion, I reckon these are definitely going to be the next, without doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, these are going to be the next big collectible tractor. Because look, face it, some of the older stuff is dying off, but I reckon them, I just 6640, 7740s, 8340s, I just think they're going to be the next 7810s. Okay, Valtra, I think we saw a number on her last day. She 150 horsepower, 04 MH. I love Valtras. I had a brand new Valtra drawn silage in, I would say 01. She was the older shape, and no one had them. And your man, I was working with Thomas Winan in camp. He bought a brand new one in 01, and it was a beautiful tractor. Comfort, oh my god. Like, I came out of a Massey Ferguson 3655. Now, if I was offered a 3655 this minute, I'd probably take it over the Valtra. But I came out of a Massey Ferguson 3655 with speed shift. You know, she had the button on the dash. And I went into the Valtra. Now, the only thing I could say against the Valtra was it was ideal on flat ground. But anyone that has ever drawn silage will know exactly what I'm going to say here. If I was going up the hill, I had the power to go up the hill. I had the power to keep up to the harvester. But when I got to the top of the hill, I didn't have the get up and go on the grunt to beat the harvester around to the next blow of grass. He'd be waiting for me, and they were missing kind of half a year. 481. Oh lads, what a tractor that is. Jesus. I had a 7.9. No, what did I have? An 8210. I had an 8210, which was the later one. And I suppose 2 later was probably an 82. These were built by, open the correction now and all this, don't shoot me. These were built by County. Somebody put up comments there on this. The chassis rails on this, right? I had a brilliant opportunity of seeing a Ford 5000 above in Shane Gregan's and Gorey that was converted by, I open the correction again, a Dutch or a Belgium, something like that. A Dutch or a Belgium Ford dealer. Excuse me, lads. A Dutch or a Belgium Ford dealer. And he invented this rail, we'll call it, or chassis, to carry the Ford 6-cylinder engine. And he actually ended up selling or licensing his idea, which he had patented, to County, and County built the 8.1 out of this. And of course, when they built the 8.1, Ford took over then, and Ford built the 8.2 and the 8.210 and so on. But that's what a tractor. What a smashing tractor. That's a lovely tractor, lads. That is a hand. Look at the inside of it. Jesus, lads. That is a lovely tractor. There's a full new interior inside it. Okay, she obviously did get a coat of paint at some stage. I would imagine she got a coat of paint, even though maybe she didn't. Because maybe she didn't get a coat of paint. As if she didn't get a coat of paint, she's absolutely immaculate. Might have been touched up in places. There's a pickup hitch in it. There's... Yeah, she's a handsome tractor. Another tractor I would love, because I love a lot of tractors, a 7.7. A 7.7 Ford, a 7.700 or a 7.710. That's... Yeah. She has the same grill as this, the 7.7. You know, she kind of the wraparound grill. But yeah, that's a lovely tractor. Renault. I actually don't know what model she is. I was looking for it last year. There's a badge here. We might give a look at the badge. See what she is. Okay, there's no type on it. Okay, there's no badge in it. But like, I know a fellow that has, is it a 15554? One of these. Oh lads, and there's another Renault over there too. It'll be in the other video. A 15554, lads. What a beast of a tractor. What an animal of a tractor it is. There's some rattle off it. I know some of these, the older type were 15514s, we'll call them. I know there was a problem going back a couple of years ago. 45. That's the number plate. I actually don't know what model she is, but I know there was a problem with the gearboxes, and it was actually very, very hard to get parts. Now that is talking 15, 16, 17 years ago. Like, it's no problem to get parts now. Like, you could order something for that, this or whatever, and you could have it in your house tomorrow morning. Is there a model number in this? Okay, type. No, there's no type. I don't know, this should be... It doesn't matter. Look, it's there if you have an interest in it. Like, look at that. That's a cheap workhorse. That's exactly what that is now. That is a cheap workhorse of a tractor. Okay, all-terrain forklift. Anyone want an all-terrain forklift? It's there for you. Anyone want this? I think this is an 8-yoke. This whole thing here can swivel around in a circle. We're not going to get too long looking at it, because it's in another video if you want to see it. These are, I think that's an 8-yoke. She's an Atlas, like. She's very, very late Atlas, I would imagine. But she's there for you. She's an 8-yoke. Look, there's a kind of a stone bucket. There's a bucket and a set of forks. What more do you need? Fordson Major, 4-wheel drive. Beautiful tractor, lads. These are a handsome tractor, lads. Imagine the work they did. Of course, they'd blow the ears clean off you. But like, they were... Imagine that. Or imagine that. Imagine one of them, right? Landing on... You're going doing a drainage job for some fella. And like, he possibly has a donkeying car. He's very lucky if he has a grey Ferguson. And he's up in the world if he has a 135. And you land down with this thing in the late 60s, early 70s. Lads above, you would be the dog's bollocks. Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, you would be the man. Or even this yoke, look, 6-cylinder. This tractor here is, I've told some of you already, I know we're repeating ourselves on this, like, but there's more tractors coming, so we have to get these videos out to you. Plowmaster 6.4. To the best of my knowledge, this is a completely matching numbers tractor. What I mean by matching numbers, that's the engine, that's the gear, the bell housing, whatever, that's the drop box, that's the back end, that's the numbers that left the factory. That is a completely matching number. That's the same engine, that's the same gearbox, that's the same everything that left the factory on that tractor. So, matching numbers tractor, winch on the front, and a big winch on the back, a big forestry winch. I know a fella in camp that had one of those winches on an ordinary Major, and Christ almighty, I remember he'd sunk these shoes down into the ground, and she pulled the tractor back, and the whole tractor actually rose out of the ground. The tractor was about a foot off the ground, but she stayed winching, lads. What a yoke it was. And there was a story lately of a digger that got stuck, and they got one of these winches to pull it out, but they actually tied the tractor onto a tree. So that's there for you, completely matching numbers. Plowmaster 64. I love the way the number plate is done. I think that's a brilliant idea. Okay, another one, same tractor, same idea, same everything, but this one doesn't have the winches. This is only 4-wheel drive. Like, again, imagine landing on with this thing in 1965, 1969, 1970, early 70s. Imagine landing into a farm with this thing. Like, now, it would have been contractors that would have had them. It would have been drainage contractors. Actually, I never spotted that before. This is inner wheel weights on the front of it. It would have been contractors that would have had them. But, again, they were a handsome tractor. Alright, come on, let's stay moving. Jesus, that's up in 25 minutes. And look at all the stuff we have to do yet. We're going to go as far as the dumper, and that'll do us. Fordson Major, 6-cylinder, like I said in Wednesday's video. I don't think this is a factory standard, but that's what a tractor. There must be some rattle off of that. There has to be a fair roar off of that. That'd be a neat yoke for. The headlight needs adjustment. We'll attempt someone to do that. There'll be some roar off of that, lads. Power steering, the whole lot, power steering pump. Belt is a bit loose in it, but that's okay too. That'd be some tractor. Actually, a fella told me one time that they tested the gearboxes in them. Open to correction now and all this, like this is. And they took the gearbox in them to a couple of 100 horsepower before the gearbox actually calved. So I have in my head about 600 horsepower before the gearbox gave up on it. Maybe that's why they use them for tractor pulling so much. Okay, 135, Massey Ferguson 135 with a loader. Again, that's a nice tractor. Look at the amount of work these tractors did. Like, this is a nice tractor. This is a handsome tractor. How many hours? 2,000 hours up on it? If the top works. That's a nice little tractor. That is a nice tractor. There's the amount of work the amount of work they've done, and the amount of work they have still to do and are still doing to this day is just colossal. Okay, dumper. What do we say this was? A Barford? A Barford dumper? That's a handy piece of equipment. 99 kW. Lads, that's a hand. Like, if this got a power wash, excuse me, if this got a rub of a power wash, it would be a completely different machine. Like, when I look at these, I look at the skips. Okay, there's a couple of dents in it, but Jesus Christ, that's not bad at all. Like, there's good old tires in it. And like, look, I like seeing that grease. She was greased, whoever owned it at last. Like, that's a nice straight dumper. Like, do you know what? I know a lot of fellas actually. I know a fella not too far from here, and he has a dumper the same as this. And do you know what he uses it for? I know that kind of ship has sailed now too, like, but he uses it for going to the bog, up and down to the bog, and he can drive the dumper more or less straight into his shed. Oh, she's a swivel tip as well, and he can just tip the turf straight into the shed with the dumper. That's a nice straight dumper. That's actually a very, like, even the rams there for the steering are dry. You know, there's no big pools of oil under them, and the skip is straight. That's a tidy dumper. Okay, we'll do one. Actually, we'll go as far as the digger. That'll be blocking us off at 30. Nuffield 465. Again, Nuffield tractor, BMC engine. I would have said that's a Duncan cab. I don't think that was the cab that was fitted with him. I remember a neighbour of ours had a Nuffield, and he had the other, I'm going to call it the 50 pence shaped cab. For those of you that are old enough to know what the 50 pence shaped cab is. Now, there's a blue engine in this, so I would imagine that's an engine out of a Leyland fitted to it, or a head out of a Leyland fitted to it anyway, at some stage, but that's okay. That is absolutely perfectly fine. That's like, That's a nice tractor. That is a nice little tractor. Just because I'm lucky I don't have money. If I had money, if I had money, I'd be broke. Again, little tractor that could look. Starts, drives, has good tyres in it. Okay, what else do we have? A digger. ECR2 25D. So I presume the 25D is 2.5 ton diesel Volvo digger. Volvo built in Sweden. Open the correction and all that. Again, nice little digger, lads. Neat mini digger. Tracks are a bit cracked, but they're all doable. They're all got. Lads, who doesn't need a mini digger around with us? We have all this stuff here as well. Look, I'm gonna put this in. Cronemore, big bale trailer, loader, selection of hitches. If you want to know what they're off of, I don't know. You have to contact the boys here. A Howard rotavator. We have a selection of weights above, McCormick weights. We have a Nabby tanker. There's a plant trailer. There's a blue horse box over in the corner. There's a Fordson Dexter. Yeah, not a Dexter. There's a Dexter. But yeah. Alright lads, if you want to see all this stuff, want to see more of this, including that Renault and that setter, I'm going to try and put up another video Sunday evening. Either Sunday or Monday. I don't know, we'll see what we have fixed. Alright, give a like, give a subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you here on the 18th at 9 AM sharp. And viewing is land on this minute. Alright lads.